This is somewhat.
Matt.
Who at the Justice Department made this decision not to include the BCA in this investigation? Do you know?
I honestly think you should ask them.
Did you get any reasoning for why the FBI was taking over the investigation? Was there any reasoning behind that you guys have heard?
Maybe Mary knows more than I do. I was just informed that that was the situation.
I think it's because of the Trump administration.
No, so I was also informed that, the BCA, that as far as I knew, it was going to be a joint investigation based on the conversations we had had with the federal government as well as the FBI, and then that changed. The only way I can't speak to why.
Can you address how unprecedented this is? Are you going to be sharing information that you're gathering with the FBI? And federal authorities could not have been more clear yesterday that you folks had no jurisdiction. And Commissioner Bob Jacobson was asked this question yesterday, and he said that they couldn't do an investigation because they didn't have any of the evidence. Is Bob Jacobson and the BCA really on board with this? I don't see them get this wrong.
That is not exactly what Commissioner Jacobson said. So I think it's important.
Well, that's pretty much what he said.
Well, please listen to what I'm about to say. I think it's important for everybody to understand that unit in the BCA was created, I think, after 2020, with the expectation that they would do the top-notch, investigate absolutely everything, okay? What he was saying was that and this is what Superintendent Evans also said, they can't do the type of investigation that they would like to do, that they do in every case, if they don't have access to that physical evidence. That is what he's saying. And I want to remind people, though, we never have ideal investigations, pretty much. Not because of the fault of officers, but we get cases submitted to us where we would like to have other types of evidence. So what he's saying is that they will not have access to some of that physical evidence. That would preclude them from doing the thorough investigation that they would like to do.
Does this go straight to the BCA?
Yeah.
Does this go straight to the BCA, or is this something that a catch-all for you guys that you will then turn over to the BCA, and then if you'll allow me a follow-up?
Yeah, so the question is, does the QR code go right to the BCA? It does not. It comes to our office, and we have an agreement with the BCA that we will be sharing it so they can catalog it. Because the goal here is to make sure we are all on the same page and we understand what evidence has been collected.
Okay, and then just a follow-up to what was asked over there. Can you ultimately make a charging decision if you don't have the car with the ballistics, like, something that is like that, where the actual evidence, piece of evidence is very important to the overall decision?
Yeah, and I can't answer that right now.
You don't know until you know.
One last thing here.
Jeff?
What access do you have to the federal officers and to their understanding of the situation, and how important is that into any investigation of what happened here?
So the question was, what access do we have to federal officers? Really none. And, it is like a police investigation, a local police investigation, too. Any officer can decide whether they want to give a statement or not. As always, we would like anyone who has anything to do with the case to give a statement. We don't always have that, so it's hard to say right now how important or not that would be.
Do you have any context into how much other states have access to these investigations when there's a federal incident where if the FBI does give them the evidence, like in other incidents where there's federal agents involved? Have you communicated with other states in these situations?
I can speak from my experience, and perhaps the Attorney General can as well. My first year here, there was a situation where the FBI was involved and the sheriff was involved, and the FBI did an investigation, and as I said, they invited us in. I mean, I had constant contact with the head of the FBI here, Alvin Winston. They invited us over to see a PowerPoint of the results of it, but it's simply their practice or their policy not to share the entire investigation. In fact, what they do initially is a civil use of force investigation, and I know they've also involved the DOJ. So and I want to go back to, this is not being critical of an FBI investigation. It is simply our access to the evidence that they collect. And so at a minimum, we certainly hope that they reconsider giving the BCA at least access to that information. One last question.
There was some talk about the immunity of ICE
case. Could you speak, do you think the Trump administration did this to try to stop charges, or is this ICE officer immune to charges from the state?
Yeah, I can't speak to why the Trump administration is doing what it's doing or says what it says. I can say that the ICE officer does not have complete immunity here.
Who's doing the
Thank you very much.
autopsy of Ms. Good's remains?